Turn that down. Hello. How's everybody doing today? Happy, what day is it? Thursday. Why do I have to struggle to remember the day? You think I didn't know what day of the week it was when I woke up? Hey, everybody. My name is Bear. I am barely watercoloring, for anyone who doesn't know. Um, really? Volume controls, they don't exist. Turn down when I tell you to turn down. Apple Music really does not play nice with the volume controls. Okay. Well, hopefully that takes care of it until the next song comes, and that'll be blasting my eardrums again. Anyway, hi. How's everybody doing? um, what am I doing today? Well, it wasn't obvious from my title. I'm going to be working on finally my first Starship. Actually, I think this is the first Starship I've done on stream. I've done others before. I've done Voyager once before. Clearly before I thought streaming was going to be a thing. And I also did the Delta Flyer. So I'm going to do Voyager again because I found the version that I like the perspective of. This guy right here. I'll zoom in a little so you can see him a little bit better. See her a little bit better, I guess. Like that. It's going to be a little aliased because, my zoom is a digital zoom and, it can only do so much. So this is the one I want to do. And I'm only going to trace the ship, but I'm later going to use the perspective of the stars at warp, and I'm going to put the ship at warp in the painted version. But I'm trying to figure out eventually what I'm going to do for the background behind it. You can do just space with nothing else really going on. But I think I'm going to want to do they're approaching like a very large nebula and they're approaching it at warp. So maybe there'll be one in distance or a huge anomaly or field or something. I don't know what. We'll figure it out. That's later. The first part we're going to worry about today, at least from the beginning part, is tracing the sucker down onto watercolor paper. So that'll be fun. We'll figure that out in a minute. For now, I just want to, tiptoe around that. Let's put this over to the side for the moment. I made a slight change to my layout, because I'm always filling stuff with stuff behind the scenes sometimes. Nothing you can see, but I have my main monitor is way it's literally I'm pointing at it right now. It's way back behind me on my desk that's over on the side over here. So I've got an L shape. So the desk that we're at right now is going in front of me horizontally. And then before it hits the wall, I've got another desk going back this way. And that's where my computer is. So my main monitor is over there, and I had a secondary monitor to my left over here, and it was starting to give me a literal kick in the neck. All right. So I moved it and is now in front of me over here where you can't see, but I can. So I can actually read chat when it comes across way easier than I did before. So this should be pretty useful, I think, being on this side. I can't type there easily. I'll have to go turn left and back up and get to the keyboard unless I disconnect it and I just bring it over here and type right here, which I can do. But yeah, we'll figure that out later. It's really just a matter of making my life easier. And in the process, moving that, I have to move everything around it. So I had to move my mic stand. It got moved and twisted around a little bit. And I tried moving my little, I had a little tray thing mounted to the side of my other desk that my clipboard was in. And I tried moving it somewhere else, but there was literally nowhere else for it to go. So I ended up putting it right back because, that's the way it goes. So yeah, I've shown my light box before. I had an old one that was USB powered and I had to always have a cable attached and that was getting cumbersome. So I had got this guy, a rechargeable one that I found online on Amazon. That works really well. It is USB-C rechargeable. It's got stepless adjustable brightness 6 level, Probably made in China. Oh yeah, it says made in China right on it. Um, 5 volt 2 amp. Color temp is from 3000 to 6500K. If you care about that sort of thing, the model number is right there, A3D50, and it shows the measurements in millimeters. I don't know what it is without whipping out a ruler. But suffice to say, it's large enough for my needs. Um, the texture on it, it's white, but it is it's textured. It's not perfectly smooth. You probably can't see it. It's almost kind of the texture of paper in a way, which I think is by design. Um, but it works for me. I have no problems with it. I've used it only once or twice. Uh, and this boy gets bright. So I'll turn it on and you'll see it's going to readjust all the lighting to be able to make it where you can see it. And that's just the paper. I have to get watercolor paper on top of that, which is going to make it even harder to see. So I've got two things. One, come here. Come on. Come here. Come on. There we go. So I have, I already pulled a piece of 9x12 arches. So you can see what it looks like here. And you can still see through it. Not bad. I'll zoom in a little and you can see it better. But on the light box, yeah, you can see through it fairly well. Even though it's a pretty thick paper, if the light box is bright enough that you can definitely see through it. But here's my thought. I'm trying to decide how big a piece of paper to use. Do I want to use this 9x12, which I can do, and I can have the ship be right in the middle so that it's the focus, right? That was one possibility. And then just do whatever background I'm going to do behind the ship, you know, when it comes time to actually do the painting. Or we can go big and I can do the A3 paper. So I'll clearly use it at some point. So I'm going to pull off a sheet so we can at least visually compare. Skip it again. Leaving. All right. So I'll put this on the bottom left and show you what I was thinking. I might do it like this. It's definitely a larger piece of paper, but I may even move it down a little bit. I may do this. Like I'll tape the Voyager template down and I'll trace only the Voyager, the ship, right? And have all the space around it to do, like, to hyperfixate on doing a quality nebula in space behind it. And then the very last thing we'll end up doing at the very end, one day when I get to it, will be putting the stars in, like you see the streaks. We'll do that all over and we'll figure out a proper way to be able to trace in where those lines are going to be so they're at the right perspective. So we can get those warp lines in there and we'll put the stars in and we'll have space over the nebula that'll be in the background with a ship in front of it, right? However, we may end up doing it in reverse order, right? I have learned my lesson, at least I hope I've learned my lesson, that when I'm doing an object in space, when I've made mistakes in the past, is painting the object first and then figuring out how to mask it in a way that I don't screw it up and still be able to paint the space around it evenly. I didn't do that with my first ship, my first Voyager that I did. And you can tell, oh, I can find the picture of it. Man, I'm yawning like crazy. Hopefully I make it through my normal stream time today, but I must be just extra tired. I can look in a folder that I've got a copy of the Voyager in that I did, streaming that one and oh fudge. Which one of these did I put in? Is it this one? Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that'll work fine. I'm gonna scoot that over here and put that up where you can see it. There we go. So this is the Voyager I did to begin with on my first one. It's not a great resolution image. It was pretty low res when I took a picture of this with an app, and it didn't work the way I wanted. And I need to take it out of the frame and do an actual scan on my flatbed scanner so it'll look better. So I'll do that in the future. Because there's more of the ship and the space and everything around this, it got cropped terribly from the app. And it just makes it look worse than it actually came out. I actually got like a very faint green glow from the nebula that it's going through. So if you remember the opening sequence from Voyager, one of the things they do is they fly through that little nebula, and the deflector or the shields on the ship push some of the nebula gas and like ignite it or illuminate it, like luminol or like undersea creatures that are luminous. It does that, and it made this really pretty effect. And so I wanted to recreate that, but from a different perspective. In the video, they do it from the top down, and you watch it as it goes past. But I wanted to do it from underneath, mainly because that's the template that I had for the Voyager that I traced. So this was traced originally on my first light box. And then I went off a reference image and I just carefully painted it light. And then I just worked up in a couple of layers and then added some basic shadows. And then I just stopped. I realize now that I did need to make the shadows a good bit darker, because it's still too faint. Even here you can see that. But I'll just let the imagination say there was like a star on the far right side, and then there was a fainter, like a bluer star behind us. That's, kind of backlighting this side of it. And we'll just go with it, right? But you can also see how I had to paint it around the edge of the ship. Even down near the lower portion, the back of the ship, the nacelles back here, you can see where I painted in close to it. And then I had to try to paint large swatches of space slightly away from that edge. And in order to get it done, the area near the ship dried. And I had to go back over it again and try to paint in that area to make it look dark. And then there was a whole lot of back and forth trying to figure out how to make that work. And I really didn't know how to handle it then. And I barely know how to handle it now, because I painted the ship first. Then I went in and carefully went around the whole edge of the ship and painted in the darkest pigment I own, aside from black. So it was really difficult to manage. So my goal is to try to do this new version the correct way. I want to be able to paint the space around everything first, then paint the ship. So how am I going to do that? I think I'll have to trace first. Then I'm going to have to use masking fluid and hope that the masking fluid doesn't pull up the ink from tracing. And then I'll be able to paint the ship inside the gap that I leave behind, because the border around it will be so dark from space. Even if I make an accidental slight mistake and go over the top of that space background while painting the ship, it should hide my crimes, right? At least a little bit if I go faint. So that's the goal. I don't know how well it's going to go. And one of my biggest problems I'm going to have with it is this. The blue glow of the nacelle. I'm going to have to struggle to find and mix using one of the combinations of paints I have, probably not from my main set, because I don't have a bright enough blue here, to get that really pretty cerulean color that the nacelles are. But I'll worry about that when I get to it. I'm jumping way ahead, mainly because I'm waiting for people to come in if anyone's available today. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do is this big piece. so that I got room to do a pretty nebulous scene back behind it. So today is going to be taping the stuff down, tracing the ship itself. I'm not trying to go as pure like surface detail of the ship like I did on my first time. I'm going to keep it kind of neutral like this is, because the main focus is partly the ship and partly the whole scene behind it. I don't want it to be just look at the ship. There needs to be more involved, right? So that's going to be fun. Um, and yes, before you ask, I could not find a good version of the ship in a, uh, I couldn't find a good version of the ship that I liked. Uh, I had to use ChatGPT to help convert uh, an image that I liked into a outline that I could use. I think I said this the first time I showed this picture too. So some of it is not quite correct. So I'm going to try to fix it on the fly while I'm tracing. Like, quite frankly, the nacelles are supposed to be tilted upward, but I don't think I'm going to be able to change that. So I'm just going to try to make the nacelle look like each other. At the very least, I'm going to look up a reference and try to just hand correct the ship as best I can. The saucer looks pretty good. Some of the secondary hull is weird, and the engines are particularly wrong. Everything else is all right. All right enough for painting. So, yeah. Unfortunately, the AI is not perfect. I don't expect it to be. And it made its own mind up about what it wanted to do with the image that I had. So, yeah, just gonna have to make it work. So I'm gonna get some tape from top A. Now I'm gonna tape this down first, where I want to have the ship. All right. And I'll probably just do a couple at the bottom as well, just to tape it down to the light box itself. Lift it, make sure I get underneath it. Okay. And one more over here. And the hard part, because I chose to go with a larger piece of color paper, I have to be careful about how I tape it down, I think. Let's see. But make sure I've got the correct side. Uh-oh. What is the correct side? Lift this up. Come on. Oh, yeah, I think that is the right side. Can I have up already? Well, that's what we're doing. Yeah, that is the flip side. All right. So, I think I'm going to tape it along the side here to really hold it down, and along this side, and then not tape it all. Well, no, it's close enough that I can tape the top part. I just can't do the right because it's hanging off. Oh, I'll have to be careful too, because that's where the power button is, and we're going to want to turn it off when I'm done if I'm not taking it off. We'll figure that out. Okay. Yes, always, I know you'll be in my show, watching, waiting, celebrating, saving souls. Our lives been turn the lights out, carrying me home. Like night, morning, smoke sex. I know she left me roses, calling the fingers. The prize of loving mercy cares. All right. I'm not trusting you. Oops. All right. That seems to be held down enough to get the job done. So let me look up a reference really quick. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Oh. Mm. I was working on something to the side a minute ago. Let me. One moment. Oh, don't turn like that. Oh, that was so bad. That was a stupid thing to do. Turning and typing doesn't work. Okay. Okay. Let me get back to a browser page. Ah, comp. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Let me out. There we go. Yes, it is. I'm making sure. Let's find a picture from Bahama so we can look up in the cells. Oh, wow. I think it's literally the one that I used. Oh, I see how it reads a mistake. Well, let me download this. Give me picture. Give me picture. That's the one. Save image. Plunk that sucker down. I was in the folder I needed to be in. Right there. Okay. Stuff to show on stream. There we go. That's the one. Put it over here. Actually, let me actually add to the stream instead of showing it like that. Add emoji. We're gonna put this. We'll put it up in the corner. Hey. Mm. Right. All right. Yeah, well, all right. So I'm going to trust that the stream is going to stay up because in order to see this, I need to have it up in front of me. But I also have it up on the stream for you guys so you can see it. So clearly you can see the difference between the two images. They came from the same source. However, the bottom one just got brutalized. by AI. Um, to be fair, I could probably put it through and recreate it again today, and it would probably do a better job. Um, which worries me because I might want to actually do that. Damn. And if it looks better, then I won't have to sit here and imagine where it should be. It should actually do it right. Let's try that. I'm going to try to put this through ChatGPT again to try to correct it. But if I do, I probably won't be able to print it because my dog will go nuts. Um, Wow, that didn't work. Okay. Nope. Let's grab this. Put it over here. And use it. And put this away. One outline version of you on accent. So that's see if it can I did that. And I don't think. All right, let's see how it does. Tonight. Oh, hey guys, welcome in. How you doing today? Sorry, I'm a little bit away from my mic. I'm sitting at my computer, turn to the left. I'm seeing if I can recreate this image that I'm using behind this, using my reference. Because if you look carefully between the two, you can tell that ChatGPT tweaked the heck out of the design on the back of this ship and messed it up. And I was gonna have to do it manually to try to correct it as I went. And I'm like, why am I doing that? When I made this image, it was like months ago. And I told you the other day too that ChatGPT is doing better, a little bit anyway. So I have a chance at it trying to recorrect it, right? So I'm trying. I'm trying to let it see if it'll make this better. And if it looks better, I may print it and then I'll swap this picture behind the scenes here with the new one. Happy camper today. Healthy diet, major cheat day. Oh, tell me, give the deets. What did you cheat with? What'd you eat that you shouldn't have, but was worth it because it was amazing? My other half is making lasagna right now. I can't wait. It's been smelling so good, just the prep work for it. If it gets finished now in the oven and ready to eat at some point, I know it needs to cool and set for a bit, so I've probably got the whole stream to finish and then go eat. But if it gets done early, I'm gonna leave y'all and go eat. I never cheat on my food. I'm just kidding. Okay, how is it doing? So far, it's created new stuff that isn't there, so that's not promising. How about the ship itself? How's that doing? Uh, it looks okay. It looks better. Let me blow it up. Um, you compare it to the original. Clearly, it created some stuff that wasn't there, but it looks better than the one I've got right now. And then the cells are actually pointed up like they should. I think I can use this more than the one that I've got right now. Yeah. Let me download this and freak out my dog. Sorry, comment. Okay, I'm going to set my headphones down in 1 second. Right? Because it, okay. He's still by the printer, but he's doing better than he normally does. When it goes off, he's just like, noise, what is this? It's probably like a weird high pitched sound or something that trips him out. Anyway, oh, I put it literally under the reference. Yeah, it definitely came out better. So I'm gonna swap out. I mean, some stuff doesn't exist. So I mean, it's half better, half not. But honestly, it's good enough. I like it better than what I already had, and I think it fixed a lot of the issues. Yeah, let me take the other one out, and we'll look at the two side by side. Wants to rule the world. Oh, 3 or 4 slices of somebody's homemade Kalamata olive focaccia bread. Nice. That was probably the best bread I've ever had, probably because you've been going without. Um, 2 pieces of cheesecake. Today was Knit and Crochet Club's sort of potluck Thanksgiving. We meet on Thursdays. Uh, and of course, next Thursday we don't because it's Thanksgiving. So we did a little thing today. Oh, nice. That's super cool. I think I saw you talking to GM about it in chat the other day or in on your stream. You know, I should save this tape because I'm going to be replacing this. You come with me. That all sounds so good. I was hoping you were going to say you got to try some or to get some of your pecan pie that you wanted, that you had a craving for. It reminds me, my other half did. I think there was a pecan pie, and if not, it was definitely a faux pecan pie using pretzels instead of pecans. I think it was that because he's got a nut allergy, so we tend to avoid the really oily nuts and things. Drier nuts tend to be okay for him, but the oilier kinds of nuts, like walnuts and pecans and things like that, that are oily, we just shy away from just to make sure. Yeah, look at the difference between these two. If you can even see it on stream. Um, a definite difference for sure. The thickness of the back of the shift looks better. The angles on this shift are better than they should be. The nacelle is actually tilted upward and has the correct shape and design in it, even though it's partially silhouetted. The only part that did not work out well that this got better truly are these windows right here. It has windows, and on this one it did like CO or some sort of symbol. So truly I'll just erase that and I'll put in some additional squares and I'll be done. Everything else, like even the shuttle bay looks better on the new version. So yeah, it definitely made improvements. Out was the old. Get out of here, sucker. We're gonna replace you with this one. So I'm gonna tape it down here. Yeah, that's a definite improvement. Not perfect, but enough for what I'm doing, I think. Get back here. I want to say when we made that sugar-free, the sugar-free faux pie using pretzels instead of the pecans, I think I want to say we used Swerve. Well, if it wasn't Swerve, then it was like the Splenda brown sugar mixture. It was one of those, one of the two. But it worked out well. Um, I seem to remember it did anyway. We'll have to find and try a recipe again and see how we like it and see if it does the texture like you want. Because I remember my other half likes pecan pie as well, but can't have the nuts. So I think he would traditionally scrape the nut part off the top and eat the to like put any kind of pie texture from underneath and get his fill that way. So using pestles made it where the whole thing was edible instead of just the under surface part. Wow. It's amazing seeing how bright this is and then folding this down and it darkens up right away. It's just a huge difference. That's wild. All right. So let's tape this back down. Oh, it's so funny. So what I was working on in the background, I've got some family photos. Like I don't have many family photos, but I do have a couple here. And I was trying to upscale a picture of my mom, and in the process, it did what AI does, and it just hallucinated, made whatever the hell it wanted. I'll show it. I don't mind showing. My mom and my dad are both passed on, but I have a few pictures of them that I can show. But my mom is right here. Of course, that's in the way. You move it up on top. I mean, this is an old picture of my mom. Like, this is like when she was young. It's the oldest picture I have of her. And I was asking it to help kind of fix this one and upscale it a little bit for me. In the process, it did everything right, except it totally remade her face to look like somebody else. It was really funky. Thank you. Yeah, my mom's name was Linda. Just a beautiful person inside and out. Toward the end, she went a little Christian-y, which I don't know how else to say it. She got very religious toward the end, because her friend is, her best friend is. No offense to her, but I think my mom was like a free spirit, avant-garde, very ahead of her time, and very thoughtful. And then I think as like her health started changing, and as my dad started doing the stuff that he was doing, I think she just looked to religion to help, ease her mind, and that's fine. But yeah, she went a little far with it, but ended up being all right. That's a discussion for another day of the tournament that ended up being. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, super pretty. I've got a few. Uh, oh yeah, this is fun. Look at this. We're going to the picture album. What little I've got. So like seriously, so the shorthand of this is after my mom died, my dad was being a bit of a jerk, and so I left. And one day when he was at work, I went back home and I opened up some of the old family photo albums and I took out pictures that I cared about the most because I couldn't just carry like a dozen photo albums around with me. And so these are all the photos that I've got. It's like a dozen or more pictures. Um, this is myself on the right and my brother, half brother on the left. Same. This is me and my mom. This is me and my dad. Yeah, you get to see my family. That's that same picture. It's another from that same day of me close up. I was cute back then. What the hell happened? Anyway, another of me and my brother. I think they were trying to be artistic with that. Another of me and my brother. This is me in, oh, yeah, what year was it? I don't know the year, but it was first grade, I think. I was going to a Jewish school in Florida, and I played Benjamin Franklin in a school play. There it is with the wig. Look at that dork. Those socks were so high up. Oh, this is me at my grandmother's house in Florida. Me, my brother, and my dad. Me and my brother. This I think was at his graduation from high school, if I remember right. Another me and my brother with his head cut off. Me from sometime I don't remember when. This is my mom and her best friend. I remember this day. I was in Boy Scout summer camp, and it was like family day. And my mom came up and hung out and said hi to everybody, visited, and I think this is in front of the the trading post. It was like a little gift shop that you could go up to get like ices and snacks and things like that. But yeah, that's it. Girl, that is a can of worms. Do you still keep in touch with your brother? Uh, uh, so no, I shouldn't go into the extreme details, but suffice to say, no. I love them to pieces, but no. The answer is no. I don't know why. I'm sure there's a reason. I don't know fully what they are, but to prevent a tearful end of the stream, I will not go into the details. Hey,
Generation Zoomers just traded with 4 viewers.
neat. I don't think I've had a raid since getting the text to speech in there. Generation Zoomers, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it. Welcome on in, everybody. I am yammering about my past and my family, which I shouldn't be doing, but I don't care. I really don't care. And I'm going to be working on tracing Voyager and getting ready for a large scale, semi large scale A3 size painting. I'll temporarily turn off the reference really quick and you'll see the whole thing. If I could click the freaking button. Yeah, so it's like this. I'm going to be doing Voyager in the bottom left. I'm going to have like a nebula in the background, and some varying degrees of color and the space around it. And then once that is complete, I'll put in stars and then the warp lines, and then I'll start painting the ship. So I'm going to trace the ship, then I'm going to mark off the ship with marking fluid or masking fluid, I mean, this stuff. And then I will work on the outer part of the painting first. And then when that's all done and dry, I'll paint the ship on the inside. Needless to say, that's going to be a multi-day project. I'm not going to get nearly all of that done today. I'll probably just get the tracing done and call it. And then on Monday, I'll start painting. Yeah. Thank you for coming in. What were you guys doing? Let me add that reference back on there so I can see it. And you guys can too. Goddess, you have to leave for a 5:30 p.m. event that you really don't feel like going to, but have to. No, it's totally fine. I mean, you can just ask me how it went or check out the VOD or something later. I'll probably go for another hour and then head out and eat. You're playing some Outer Worlds too? That's awesome. I've never played even the first one, but I've seen people play it. And I think my other half got the Outer Worlds 2 and is playing it a little bit. I don't recall, but I'm pretty sure. Thank you, Goddess. I will have a great rest of my stream. Just going to hang out, listen to music, and sketch. The first one's so good. I have to go off of watching other people. It sucks, but I have simulator sickness. I never really talk about it. Um, I had eye surgeries when I was a kid because I had it's not really a lazy eye. I had a muscle problem in one of my eyes, and I had to have corrective surgery to align it back. And to do that, they have to do surgery on both eyes to give you back like the alignment. And if you're lucky, you can get binocular vision back. Um, the alignment's great now for the most part, but I still have mostly monocular vision, so I can only focus at with one eye at a time. And in the process of doing that, I started having simulator sickness. So any sort of game that's got a first person perspective, that's a lot of rapid spinning and moving around, makes me like seasick almost immediately. Within a few minutes, I am about to vom. So I can't play them. I can't watch them. I just kind of suffer, which sucks because prior to the surgery is when Half-Life 1 came out and I was playing that all the time and it was fine. You know what I mean? So it's like, I hate it because I used to love them and now I don't like them as much because I can't watch them for very long. It is what it is. There's so many other games in the world that I can play that it makes up for it. That was fine. and I get to enjoy it in brief, spats of it. And some games don't do it to me. Especially third person, I tend to not have that problem because the camera motion is a lot more subdued. But yeah, any first person rapid, pew pew stuff, or like looking down the reticle, can't do, which sucks. But it is what it is. It's all right. I learned to live with it. That was a very long time ago that I had that surgery. It was like shit. Like it was in high school, so I want to say it was like 25, 26, 27 years ago. So I'm beyond over it. All right. Enough yammering about me. Let me go ahead and look on this. Feel free to hang out if you want to, but if you rated and got to run, feel free. I'm literally just going to be doing tracing today. And then if anything, I may do the masking fluid portion to mask the ship off. And then that'll give me a fresh start when I come in on Monday. Just hit the road painting and I'll be able to go through and start with the whole space background. And we'll plan what we're going to do then. So yeah, thank you again so much for hanging out with me and coming on in. I'll be here for another hour. So let me get to work on this. And I'm going to trace directly with pen. I've got a few different sizes, 5 of them, of these Winsor& and Newton pens with indelible ink, which is why I have to get them. Uh, because you have to have an ink that you can paint over or get wet that doesn't bloom or spread. And these work really well for that. So this one is the large. No, I'm sorry. I must have put them in backwards. This one is the largest, 1.0. And I've used it so much that the tip is actually thickened a tiny bit. You probably won't be able to see it. But hey, I still got the stream up on top. Uh, like that. You can't even see that it has, but it has kind of rounded over the tip. So it draws really thick lines. The next size down from it is a 0.8, and it does not have that column. It's much more narrow. So I will try to do everything with this 0.8, but if it doesn't make a thick enough line, I'll switch to the larger one. What's that? Comet's tripping out for something. Oh, my math is printing something. I guess because I already started the dog tripping. He's already like freaking out. Why are we printing something making noise? So I think he's just piling on because he can. Uh-huh, uh-huh. Oh, all right. Well, no, actually, I'm not painting, so I can keep my coffee nearby. Sweet. All right. I'm going to turn the music up a tiny bit, but if you want, feel free to chat and say anything you like, and I will do my best to lower the music and respond. In the meantime, you can rock out with me. I'll also have to take my glasses off so I can see this. And down under. Not that one. That's why I meant to show that. Ha 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 ha. Okay, cover. Short. Wait, you better take cover. Better take colors. Yep, I think you're gonna be seeing a lot in the back of my head. What? Better run. You better take cover. One time and then. Better run. Better take cover. Yeah. Mhm. Ah. I realize there might be some differences to this ship too, because this is the version of the ship. I'm sorry, my mic was moved over from when it was at my desk. This is the version of the ship from Lower Decks. They did the cartoon. They did a version of Voyager because at that point it had returned home and it was a museum ship and they were transporting it from one location to the next. And so this is like a cartoon version of the ship. But by the time it gets outlined and I trace it, it's probably going to look as close as I can get to the original anyway. Yeah, only knows. Left tanker. Right. You Tender. That upper part is actually a sensor palette. So we'll see how well that does that, because I think it shrunk it a little bit. No, I did a mistake there. Oh, that's fine. It's just a lowering. It's gonna fill it in. It's these 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I accidentally put the theater strip there, and that wasn't because I was going off this instead of the reference at the time. That's fine. My time is too good. Hey, Well, let me take you there. In there. And yeah. Take you there. One, two, three, four. My bad, I zoned out. Radar. No, you're totally fine. Welcome in. Appreciate you being here. I am just going through and tracing the Star Trek ship Voyager to paint later on, probably Monday. I'll start. Happy Thursday to you too. Thank you. Yeah, I've done a Voyager before. I showed it earlier. I think I might still have it up. If not, I can show it again. It was like a year and a half ago when I first started painting. It is wow, it's fun trying to navigate through my computer with my glasses off. I took my glasses off so I could see to do this. And boy, oh boy, is it make it hard to see my computer. This one? Yeah. Yeah, here we go. Come over here, zoom in a little bit, and blame out. Assuming that's showing. Let me get stuff back down so I can see my screen. Yeah. So that's the Voyager I did originally. Some of the border is cut off, but this is the one I've done in the past. And I have been afraid to go back to do another ship. So I've been kind of putting it off because it's very time consuming to do. Uh, but I didn't like how some of this came out a little bit. It's gorgeous, but I didn't quite know what I was doing back then, and I still quite don't. But I'm hoping to improve on some of my process. Back then, I painted the ship first, and then I tried painting a really dark space using indigo paint around it, and it was so hard to get accurate and then still be able to paint space further away from the ship. So it became a nightmare to do. So this time around, I am going to work on tracing this, and then I'm going to put masking fluid on the ship, and then I'm going to do the entire space scene around it before removing the masking fluid and finally painting the ship, which is kind of scary in a way, because if I get the ship wrong before the rest of the painting, it's not a big deal because I can just technically redo it. But doing it this method, I'm saving the most difficult part, the ship, for last. And if I get it wrong, the whole thing is just blah. But I'm going to make it work. So fingers crossed, right? Yeah, it's going to be fine. What is that? Uh, oh, I think I don't have my glasses. It's so fun trying to read and see shit with my glasses off. Let me put them on and see. Oh, that's awesome. Especially seeing it blown up big like that on my chat bubbles. I like that. A cute emote. I like that. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm working on. And I'm probably going to go for how long have I been streaming? Hour 13, hour 14. So I'll probably go for another like 45 minutes or so. 45. I can enunciate 45 minutes or until I'm tired. So yeah, feel free to hang out with me. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, I guess I should take my glasses immediately right back off again so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm not doing that. I'm doing this right here. What is all of that? Oh, it's shadows. That's why. I'm not going to draw those in. From my reference image, those are all shadows up in there with a little bit of texture from stuff. So I may have to put in whatever that texture is later. I'm probably going to get a better reference. And the reference that I have on screen in color up above is what I did this outline from originally. But I think because it's got all kinds of shadows on it, it warped some stuff. So I'll probably get an actual TV like rendering of the ship or someone else's models rendered so I can see what's in this upper area right there. For now, I'm going to skip it. And instead of making all the windows white for now, I'm doing them black. And I can technically go over them later with white acrylic or my white gel pens or something. So I'm just kind of putting them in there now so I know where the windows are going to live. So those are actually like full windows. Okay. And there's actually a window there. No, it's not a window. That's something else. All right. Damn, haven't heard this song forever. Turn it up a little. Uh, oh, that should not have been connected. Well, whatever. Well, yep, and that is a circle, and that is another sensor palette. So I'm gonna teach it. That goes up, over, and down. You know, like that. And goes across, and then there is seems to be something like that in the middle. Well, it's doing. It's hilarious. Totally sitting here so zoned out that my mouth was open and I drooled a tiny bit on my paper. That is hilarious and gross, but hilarious too. That is actually the big windows. Yeah. Okay. And it did that, but that actually just underneath that is actually a bit of, I think that's a bit of the red um, stripe, the Federation. like lining. So 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3, 4 over. There's that. And then there's a line going across. So that actually meets that. It's so faint, it's actually hard to tell. So that goes there. Okay. So it created that line, but there's actually a line going along here. And that's the edge of the wing. And that is invisible, but I know it's there because it's on the other side. Shit. Dun, 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 dun. Is working carol and just have soon have time on the time we let carol. Yeah. Music just use the soul. Time record. Yes. We can feel the rock and roll. Really should. All right. Try to get this cell figured out. All right. Rules today. Maybe one. It does go to the top right there. Okay. And this is an extension of the arm. That's back here. And now I need that goes this way. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3 dividers through this. So the outer edge of it. Is 1, 2, 3. Harder than I thought. Oh, you know what? I know how I am. I'd better do this side first because I'll put my hand on it while it's wet and screw it up. All right, here we go. And then is cares about me. Good blessing. Yep, that should be there. Whatever. Okay. Oh, well, It's so hard to talk while I do this. I realize I've been dead ass silent the whole time because all I can do is think about doing this and not royally screwing it up. I think I will finish early because this, as simple as it is gently stressing me out. I'm just trying to do it right. And like clearly it's gonna have mistakes because I'm not perfect. And we're in it. I think that's everything I need to get done. Oh, well, I missed, committing this part to the ship. Yeah, I think that's basically it. Woof. Yeah, I think that's about all I'm going to be able to get myself to do today. Stressing me out. Let me close this. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be it. I don't need to trace anything more, so I can at least get it off of this. Does this pour some sugar on these? It is, yes. Pour some sugar on me. I comment. You must be. I can turn this off now. Ah, I can see again. I've been staring into this light for hour, like an hour now. My eyes are just like dead. All right. Right. Yeah. It doesn't show it, but I think it needs. I think it needs this. It doesn't look pretty, but it needed the edge of the ship over there. I don't know why it wasn't on anything. And besides, even though it's like a focus, it's not the focus. I'm not going to be trying as hard like I did on my first Voyager to get like paneling and all the everything perfect on it. I just want it to be enough. Like you'll look at that, you'll see the colors, you'll see the outlines, you'll know that's Voyager done, right? The main purpose is hopefully the whole scene. So next time, what I'm going to do, next time I am going to use my masking fluid. I've got a lot of these silicone tipped brushes that are used for modeling, like clay modeling, right? But they're silicone tips, so they're perfect actually for masking fluid. Masking fluid has a bad habit of sticking to brush bristles and then never letting go, and your brushes will be ruined, right? So I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna put a decent amount on here and push it right to the very edges of the ship, but not into the space behind it as much as I can anyway. And then once that's fully dry, we're going to start planning out what our space scene is going to look like behind it. My thought is I'm going to do a large nebula in this area, like Voyagers approaching the nebula or going to work their way around it, and then the space around it. And then, like the image here, I'm going to do the warp lines showing that they're at warp, trying to get to their destination. So it's going to give that feeling of motion. So I'm going to have to work to get the perspective right, probably with the pin or something over on this side and like string or something. I don't know what yet. So that I can get the lines, the perspective right for all of the warp lines, the stars going past. And then we'll do stars on top of it everywhere. And then I'll peel back the masking fluid once everything is dry on the outside. And the last thing we have to paint will be the most difficult part, the ship. And we'll get the ship painted. We're going to do our damnedest to get the glows for the lit parts of the ship on there. And then we'll cover up, once we have the full coloring and everything down and the shadows, we'll find a good process to put the windows back on in white everywhere that I've painted them or drawn them in here black. So we can get some nice bright white lights on the side of the ship like we should have. And then when that time comes, we'll call it. How well it comes out, I don't know. Probably my middling best, but I'll do the best I can. So yeah, it feels like I didn't do a lot today, but I did yammer a good bit, showed some pictures of my mom and my family, and started tracing this. So this is the hardest part, is tracing this and having this ready to go when the time comes to paint it. I'll mask over all of it, paint everything else, uh, let that dry, fill the masking out, and then carefully go through and start painting the ship itself. And we'll figure out where our hull colors are going to be. And we'll figure out how to do like the red lines, because red bleeds like a bitch. I haven't found a single red watercolor that I've tested yet. Not that I have a lot of experience, but so far, every time I've tried to do red on watercolor, it bleeds. So my only course of action with that is it has to be the last thing I do. It has to be incredibly thin and it has to be like buttery thick on dry paint, or it's going to bloom and spread and get on everything. I 100% can't go over the top of it like I thought I was going to be able to. Um, so yeah, it's going to be purely a last finishing touch, just like the white on the windows will be. So I have a little bit of a line under here where the one on the side of the hull is, the double stripe one going down the back here. We may do some scribbles for where the font is on the ship for the ship name and its registry number. There's red stripes on top of the nacelles where those double lines are. And then the blue engine glow will get done on this side. And then the red Bizarre collectors will get done on the front of each. And then the red impulse engines on the back. And then maybe our station keeping lights on the sides of the ship everywhere that they're supposed to be. And we'll call it. Oh, and the red glow from the aft torpedo launchers up here as well. Woo, it's a lot to do. We're going to start on it on Monday. All right, guys. I am going to go ahead and head out. I would like to thank all of you guys, all of the raiders who came in and have hung out, anyone who might be lurking. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I'm going to go ahead and head on out. If you haven't yet, please check up at the top of the chat or down below in my about section, or hell, I'll do it now, and take a look at my Instagram. Everything I do, I post there, the good, the bad, and ugly, just for memory and to show, hopefully, knock on wood, some growth over a period of time. Everything I've done from the beginning is on there. I went back when I started it and posted all the pain getting to where I am, and I'm still only like, I feel 20% into learning. So I've got a lot to go. All right. Guys, have a great night. My name is Bear. I have been barely watercoloring, and y'all have a great day. I will be back on Monday at 4 p.m. roughly Pacific time. All right, guys. Have a good night. I'll leave you with some music. See ya.